Aloha everyone! Today I am doing a Blu-ray movie review of a movie that just hit yesterday, Kong Skull Island. And I gotta say, I enjoyed the heck out of that movie. I actually enjoyed it even more than I expected to. This movie was a thrill ride. And it was very good as a thrill ride of a movie. The movie is, it's a very basic storyline. The characters are very basic. If that's what you're looking for in this movie, it's not that kind of party. This is meant to be, as I said, a thrill ride. It's like going to a theme park and getting on a ride. And it's not to say it's like action 100% start to finish. It's like a very good thrill ride. It knows you need peaks and valleys. And it starts off with a slow build-up where you're introducing the setting and the characters and just getting everything set up. Not so much to build up the characters, but it's to build that suspense. Yes, you're waiting for, they're heading to this island. You know sort of what's coming. And it's just building that tension. And then there's quieter moments in the movie, but all like very tense, very stressful, where there's not a lot of action happening, but it's that breather in between the action where you still have that tension, you still have that suspense building up. And I think it balances those really well, making for a really fun ride of a movie. The movie is sort of a remake of the original King Kong, which has been remade many times at this point. But it does it a little differently in that it focuses all on the parts of the original King Kong that take place on the island. It does not have Kong being captured and taken off the island and back to New York. It completely skips that part, and any of the setup that would have paid off in that part is completely skipped. And it's mostly because it's no secret that this is in the same universe as the most recent Godzilla movie, and it's setting up a confrontation between the two. So it wants to establish King Kong as being, here in this universe to eventually fight Godzilla. And it does, I think, a really good job for what it's trying to do. The movie takes place in the 70s, just as the Vietnam War has ended, which, I will say this, I think that there is a lot in the movie that is not so much directly homaging previous King Kong movies, but sort of spiritually homaging King Kong movies. And the 70s setting will really make you think a lot about the Jeff Bridges 1976 King Kong remake. And the fact that there's an expedition to find the island. It is not, as in the original, a director. Carl Dunham is not in this movie as a director to trying to find something incredible for his movie, as it was in the original, but it is, in fact, in this case, a government group that has discovered it via satellite and is heading off to explore the island and chart it. And that is very similar to the 70s version, in which, well, it wasn't a government agency, it was an oil company that had discovered the island via satellite photos and so on, that thought it might be a source of oil. But you have that kind of spiritual similarity there. The 70s setting, of course, that's obviously going to make you think of it. The character that really is pushing the most for it is John Goodman's character. John Goodman's character, although he's not a director, he really feels a lot like that Carl Dunham director character from the original and from the Peter Jackson remake. He has that a certain quality to the performance that really sort of homages that character without being that character. I mean, there's even a scene where you see him holding a film camera. So I think that they're clearly meant to be homaging that character, but he's not the same character. Which I think is, like, it's a clever way to bring the elements that we are familiar with King Kong into this movie while still making it its own version. That is trying to do something different. It's trying to set up the shared universe, so it's trying to do something different than the Beauty and the Beast story that King Kong was. But it still manages to give you this feel that it's at least spiritually homaging the previous versions, like the 70s one, like the original one. And Kong himself in this, unlike the last time we saw him on film in the Peter Jackson remake, in which they had decided to go full-on ape with him. They had decided to make him very much anatomically just a huge gorilla and have him, walk on his knuckles, crouched over like a gorilla, and just have him move like a gorilla. This Kong is a really good, reimagining of the original stop-motion puppet. I mean, it looks like that puppet, but more detailed, with better animation, and it's just it walks upright, it stands tall, which, that really helps make him really imposing and make his size really feel epic. So I've got nothing but good things to say about this Kong. And the first time you see him in the movie, there's this whole, it's the government team of scientists have a military escort with them as they go to chart this island. And so they're coming in military helicopters. And they're really playing up this. It's happened just as the Vietnam War has ended. These people that are coming off of the Vietnam War are getting diverted for this one last mission to chart this island before they're sent home. And they're really playing up the Vietnam War feel to the movie as well, which kind of leads me to say I've kind of decided that there are alternate titles to this movie out there somewhere which will work just as well. And the first one I have decided on is you could call this movie Kong-Pocalypse Now. It is that much of a blending of a Vietnam War movie and King Kong at that point in the movie. And the visuals in this movie are just epic. They have these just shots sprinkled throughout the movie that are they're just amazingly cool shots. I mean, they're just it's like the screen cannot handle that much coolness, which makes me sorry that I actually didn't see this in theaters. I really wish now I had seen some of these shots on the big screen, because they are just epic. It was so entertaining. And then you have Samuel L. Jackson in this movie, which leads me to the other alternate title I think that this movie deserves, which is King Kong versus Samuel L. Jackson. As Samuel L. Jackson is in this movie, and he is at his Samuel L. Jackson-iest in this movie. I mean, everything you think of when you think of a Samuel L. Jackson performance, he brought that to this movie. He is as over-the-top Samuel L. Jackson as he can get. And he is, I can't believe that they could get away with just having this one man, Samuel L. Jackson, staring down Kong, and have it, be like believable, and not have it be like, come on, what are you thinking? It's Kong. But it's Kong, yeah, but it's Samuel L. Jackson. You've seen his other movies, so okay, I buy it. But yeah, in the movie, Samuel L. Jackson does end up with a sort of Captain Ahab vendetta against Kong, and yeah, it's fun. It is fun to watch him go nuts as he obsesses over Kong. John C. Reilly also plays a very memorable character in the movie, in that he is the guy from World War II who crashed on the island and has been there ever since. Which he's a character that he's comic relief to extent. He's also there to be able to provide exposition, as he's been on the island. He's had enough time to learn this, so he's able to teach the new characters that come in kind of what's going on in this island. And it's, like I said, it's a ride. It's just, you've got all these monsters that Kong is fighting. You've got Kong fighting helicopters. You've got all kinds of danger and creatures everywhere. You've got, a few character moments and so on, but they don't do too much with them because that's not what you're there for. You're there to see Kong fighting monsters, and that's what you get. And they do it really well. They're all shot so, really clear, so you can see every punch. You can see everything that's happening, except right at the beginning when Kong is first introduced. And that is done very deliberately. There's a lot of shaky cam right at Kong's first introduction, and that's really the only time you see that in the movie. And that is done very deliberately, because this is building up the reveal of Kong. It doesn't want to show you the whole Kong, in all his glory all at once. It wants to build that up, and that's the only use of this kind of modern style, confusing shaky cam action scene. And I think that it's because of how they use it here. It's really clever. I just can't say enough about this movie. I think it was fantastic. I mean, again, it's a monster movie, so it's sort of a B movie, or a big budget version of a B movie. So that is what you're getting. But as a big budget B movie, it's fantastic. I can't recommend it enough, and I'm looking forward to the showdown between him and Godzilla. To compare this to the recent Godzilla film, I enjoy this much more. The recent Godzilla film was okay, but I, like many people, had the complaint that every time Godzilla was about to throw down, every time there's a big action scene, they cut away. Right up until the end. I mean, they saved him up for the end, and you can see why they would want to do that, but I just think it was a miscalculation. I understand what led them to that, but it ended up being the wrong move, I think, for that kind of movie. But here, they did it right. They gave us all of the huge monster action that we were looking for. They gave us enough with the characters so that, we could, feel like we were with them along for the ride. And the visuals are fantastic. Epic. I mean, some of the shots you just think, that is just so epic. So, really, there is nothing bad I can really say about the movie for what it is. For what it is, it hits the nail on the head. So, if you have any interest in a huge monster movie at all, this is a good one to check out. Alright, folks, like, comment, subscribe, and that's a wrap.